And an armor class is also difficult type thing in that type of sense. And in that type of sense, 100 gold pieces type thing in that type of sense. From that type of thing, that's armor check penalty -2 type thing in that type of sense. From that, that's armor check 4 type thing in that type of sense. Now you gotta turn back to the maid type thing in that type of sense. That's 4 in that type of thing. You write that down type thing in that type of sense. Boom. And from that type of thing, you go back to 135, 10 type thing in that type of sense, base. And in that type of thing, that's 10 base. From here type thing, that's 10 type thing in that type of sense, plus in that type of thing, plus your armor bonus, which is 4, plus your shield bonus type thing in that type of sense. And in that type of thing, that's shield. And in that type of thing, that's heavy steel shield type thing in that type of sense, which isn't a buckler. And that's +2 type thing in that type of sense. So you add 2 to that type of means. And that's here in that type of thing. That's boom in that type of thing. And you have 16 type thing in an armor class in that type of sense. Now for money type thing to afford that in that type of sense, that is also right type thing in that type of sense. That's here, that's your 111 type thing in that type of sense. And that's fighter type thing in that type of thing in that type of sense. Where is that? If you don't want to take the standard package for your character's class, you can instead purchase weapons, armor, and miscellaneous equipment item by item. You begin with a random number of gold pieces that is determined by your character's class, and then you decide how to spend it. See Table 1, Random Setting Goal. Alternatively, your DM can assign average starting goal for each character as indicated in Table 7.1. And it isn't. So now that's Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, a 64 times 10 type thing, or take 150 gold pieces type thing in that type of sense. And that's right. So now in that type of thing, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 type thing in that type of sense. And so in that type of thing, once again, type thing in that type of sense, that was column 1 type thing in that type of sense, and then I went over to column 2 type thing there, in that type of sense, and boom, that's where I read that from. Put the 6 dice in there type thing in that type of sense, and boom. In that type of thing, sometimes characters take the average if they don't get it type thing in that type of sense. So now we roll that type thing, that's 3, and that's plus, that's 4, that's 7 type thing in that type of sense, that's 3 type thing, and that's 10. That's 10 plus 4 type thing in that type of sense, and that's 14 plus 3 type thing, that's 17 plus 3 type thing in that type of sense, and that's 20. So now I need to get a calculator type thing in that type of sense, and that's right in that type of thing. So now in that type of sense, which was difficult math type thing in that type of sense, that's 3 in that type of thing plus 4, hold on here, that's 3 plus 4 type thing in that type of sense, and that equals 7. Now I'm going to add another 3 to it, type thing in that type of sense, and that's 10. And in that type of sense, that's another plus 4 to it, type thing, that's 14. And that's another plus 3 to it, and that's 17, type thing in that type of sense. And lastly, another plus 3 type thing to it, and that's 20. So now in that type of thing, that's 20 type thing, and it's at 20 type thing. We did 64 x 10 type thing. Also T. So I find the x type thing in that type of sense, x and 10 type thing, which is multiplication. That's 200. So now you have 200 to spend type thing in that type of sense. 200 type thing is greater than the 150 that they had in the parentheses type thing for average type thing in that type of sense. Let's assume type thing in that type of sense that that wasn't average and that was max type thing. Out of 64 type thing in that type of sense, that would have been 6 fours type thing, so that's 6 times 4 type thing, that's 24, and then times 10 type thing in that type of sense, that's 240. So it's 240 on the bottom type thing, boom. And then at that type of sense, it said average type thing was 150 type thing in that type of sense. So now in that type of thing, that's 150 divided by 240 type thing in that type of sense, and that's 62.5 in that type of sense, or 0.625 type thing in that type of sense, times 100 type thing in that type of sense, and that's 62.5 type thing in that type of thing. Let's get our chart type thing in that type of sense to check and see whether that is indeed type thing in that type of sense. 62.5 in that type of thing. That's 60 type thing, that's 60 to 66, and that's a D. So that's not average. We were lied to. In that type of thing, well, I shouldn't say lied to type thing in that type of sense, but it's not very honest. So in that type of thing, we go out of that type of thing, that type of sense, and in that type of thing, from that type of thing in that type of sense, that's 200 gold pieces, so chain shirt type thing, that's minus 100 type thing in that type of sense, and we rolled up 200, minus type thing 100 type thing in that type of sense, that's 100 type thing, and a heavy shield type thing was 20 gold pieces type thing, and that's minus 20 type thing in that type of sense, and you've got 80 remaining in that type of thing. And armor class 16 and 18 hit points, which isn't bad type thing in that type of sense. It could have been better type thing in that type of sense if you were going into the knight type thing in the fighter, but I had to go in the fighter so that I could show a particularity type thing in that type of sense. In the next part of the video, as far as going to Star Wars, it'll fill. Okay, now we have a 2-weapon fighter type thing in that type of sense. From that type of thing, with armor class 14, or hit points 14, armor class 11 type thing without putting anything on, and then you hit play with a fortitude 6 type thing in that type of sense, and a reflex 1 and roll 0. Now once you put on stealth type thing, you might get different abilities type thing in that type of sense. Now I wasn't really thinking of the skills type thing in that type of sense, but in that type of thing you're going to still not go beyond first level in that type of thing. Yeah. Bring it. Bring it. Yeah. Let's see. That's it. Take down to the says. Can I speed past this real quick? Okay. Alright. That's me on the ship type thing in that type of sense. Pretty good. Pretty good. Alright. I might accidentally hit record type thing in that type of sense. I gotta wake up type thing. Extract type thing in that type of sense. That's explosions. More explosions.
We've been ambushed by a Sith battle fleet. The Endar Spire is under attack. Hurry up, we don't have much time. I'm Trask Olgo, ensign with the Republic fleet. I'm your bunkmate here on the Endar Spire. We work opposite ships. I guess that's why you haven't seen me before. Now hurry up. We have to find Bastila. We have to make sure she makes it off the ship alive.
That's right.
Bastila is the commanding officer on the Endar Spire. Well, not an officer, really, but she's the one in charge of this mission. One of our primary duties is to guarantee her survival in the event of an enemy attack.
Yes.
You swore an oath just like everyone else on this mission.
Get it.
Now it's time to make good on that oath.
Not bad.
I've heard all about your reputation. Elite combat training, tops in your class. It's no wonder you were handpicked for this mission.
That's true.
Word is the officers haven't seen a recruit with your kind of potential in 20 years. But all that potential doesn't mean a thing if you can't deliver when it counts. We're soldiers. We're trained for combat. Bastila is going to need men and women like us at her side during this attack.
No, I'm ready. Okay. Okay, let's go.
So hurry up and grab your gear. You need to suit up so we can get out of here.
Okay, I'm going to speed this ahead type thing. And that type of sense. Cheating type thing. It's here. And from that, I draw stamina, blaster rifle, short sword, clothing, 2 med packs. That's it. And then from there, taking that type of sense.
Come on, we have to hurry. The Sith might already be boarding the ship to try and capture Bastila. Put your equipment on so we can get out of here.
That's right. Okay. So when you start, you go in there type thing, you put your clothing on, it's not a combat suit, it's laying on this type of thing. And from that, there's nothing there, it's nothing, and that's a short sword. And now 14 hit points type thing, that type of sense, and 2 to 7 type thing there. And 2 to 7 damage, or a d6 plus 1. If you roll a 1 on a d6, it's 1. Result of 1 type thing, which is a strange thing in that type of sense, which it isn't. So now you got a d6, you roll the 1 type thing out of that d6 type thing, you roll the 1, and then you added 1 to it type thing in that type of sense, and that's 2, which is the first part of the hyphen. If you roll the 6 type thing in that type of sense, and that's 6 plus 1 type thing in that type of sense, and that's 7 type thing, which is the second part of that hyphen type thing in that type of sense. From that type thing, that's a plus 2 type thing in that type of sense, which means they mean a d20 type thing in that type of sense. That's a d20 here type thing in that type of sense, and then add 2 to it type thing, for a total of d20 plus 2 or 22. Yeah. So in that type of thing, that's their type thing, and boom, boom, and then that's your spacesuit type thing in that type of sense. That's your vitality type thing, that's 14 type thing, and that's your defense, and that's 11. And that's a soldier, and that was first level type thing in that type of sense. And that's a fortitude of 6, and a reflex of 1, and a will of 0 type thing in that type of sense. And that's how you apply the principle of what we've been working on type thing, and changing the configuration of your starting character. Right there in the video imagery, motion, contemplation. you get the idea. Thanks a lot for watching and participating, taking in that type of sense. And 1d8 plus 1, the Leonal Orbs, taking that type of sense. And then Deming, Sage Block 9. And please go ahead, enjoy, frame differently, have different experiences out there so that you can go and create and kapow! And do some
okay, let's move out.
Go
we should stick together. You'll have more success with a party than on your own.
But, you know, you get the idea. Now, in that type of sense, let's go out and let's go get it done.
Because of the attack, this room is in lockdown. But don't worry, I've got the override codes. You'll have to use me to unlock the door.
Not a problem. In that type of sense, that's their button type thing, that type of thing. That's the toggle button. And here, right here type thing, in that type of sense, which is hard to see type thing, you press that. That,
sure.
that,
yes.
that,
sure.
that,
sure.
that. And that helps you switch from person on an Xbox 360 type thing to switch
yes.
from here to Warwick Dell to switch to Trask in that type of sense and operate him type thing on the door. Right then and there type thing. Then you use these triggers underneath that type of thing to trigger around the room type thing in that type of sense in an object thing instead of a person thing in that type of sense. And then now he uses security, but he's got the code, so you can just hit that type thing from there in the dialogue box. He doesn't really need to pick that because he's already got the code.
Now that the door is open, you better take the lead again.
And 100 experience for switching that. Now that type of thing, boom. Let's go kick their
This
ass.
is KOTOR1. The Sith are threatening to overrun our position. We can't hold out long against their firepower. All hands to the bridge.
That was Hart contacting us on our portable communicators. He's one of the Republic's best pilots. He's seen more combat than the rest of the Endar Spire's crew put together. If he says things are bad, you better believe it. We have to get to the bridge to help defend Bastilum. There's a map of the Endar Spire and a copy of Card's message in your electronic journal, just in case we get separated.
No problem. Boom. And then to the same journal. And journal. Oh, by the way, show feedback type thing. There's X type thing, that type of sense. And feedback type thing, that type of sense. And then back to conversation and feedback. And you hit the X button type thing, that type of sense. And X button. And back. And back. And back. And back. And back type thing, that type of sense. And that would be awesome type thing. That way, if you're wondering how much you miss a roll by or something like that, you can see the combat type thing in the feedback section there. And that's your journal type thing in that type of sense. And then rock and roll. Going straight.
That door's locked. I don't have the codes to open it. Switch me to the party leader so you can use my security skills to slice into the access panel and open the door.
You hit the first one, but not this one type thing, that type of sense. So then you switch to him type thing. And here type thing. And here. And that's the open thing. You didn't work type thing.
These Sith must be the advanced boarding party. For the Republic!
Let's go. And did it now. Yeah. Yes.
I've got a feeling that won't be our last battle with the Sith. Good thing we have med packs to heal our wounds. It might be a good idea to use one now before our next battle.
Alright, I'm injured type thing, in that type of sense. My vitality type thing, I'm at 12 out of 14 type thing, that type of sense. And I'm okay. That's a fraction, by the way. And so in that type of thing, that's 12. From that type of thing, that type of sense. And let's see here. And that's 12 type thing divided by 14. And that equals that type thing, that type of sense. And then you hit the X, and that's 100. And that's here. And that's 85.7% type thing, that type of sense. Alright, back to it. Alright, search some box. Frag grenade. Take that, Spire.